Welcome back to session 7. I am Vinod Sudhanor, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science. Subject is Computer Fundamentals for BA, BSc and BCom 3rd semester students of Vijayanagara Sri Krishna Devaraya University, Ballari. So, before going on to the today's session, first we will revise the previous class. In the previous class, we have learned about the block diagram of computer. In that, we have learned 4 different units, that is input unit, output unit, CPU and memory unit. All these 4 units we have learned in detail with some of the examples, right? So now in today's class we are going to learn about fundamental classification of computer memory. This means that in the computer we have 4 units. Out of that we are concentrating on memory unit now. So fundamental classification of computer memory. So in this class we are going to learn about classification of computer memory and how they are divided, right? So at the end of the session you will know how they are divided based on the primary or secondary memory and how they will work and what are the characteristics of each memory unit, right? So let's start with the class now. Classification of memory. So first we will categorize the classification based on some criteria, right? So the memory is divided into 2 different memories, that is primary memory or main memory, secondary memory or auxiliary memory, and this primary memory is again divided into 2 types, that is RAM or ROM, and this secondary memory is again divided into 2 types, that is magnetic tape and magnetic disk, right? First we will check the primary memory, then RAM is again divided into DRAM and SRAM. ROM is again divided into PROM, EPROM, EEPROM. Next, in the secondary memory, magnetic tape and magnetic disk, and magnetic disk is again divided into 3 types. One is floppy disk, hard disk and optical disk. Now we will see these memories in detail. First we will go with the primary memory, right? First we will see what do you mean by primary memory and how it is divided. So primary memory is the only type of memory which is directly accessed by the CPU. This means it is a memory which is embedded within the central processing unit. So for making any calculation, any processing or any storing, this will be used immediately, right? Next, the CPU continuously reads the instruction stored in the primary memory and executes them. As we have seen this point in the previous session, that is in the block diagram of computer, that I was saying that the instructions or any program which will be stored in a memory that will be fetched from the control unit from the CPU and it will be executed within the CPU. Same point, the CPU continuously reads the instruction stored in the primary memory and executes them, right? Next, any data that has to be operated by the CPU is also stored. That means ಯಾವುದೇ ಡೇಟಾ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಹಾಕಬೇಕಂತಂದರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಪರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ that should be stored or that also be stored in the primary memory. Next, the information is transferred to various locations through the bus. Bus is not the one you are thinking. This is some kind of the channel where the data will be transferred from the input devices to the memory locations, right? So these are some of the features of main memory, and main memory is again divided into two types, that is RAM and ROM. Right, RAM means random access memory. RAM means random access memory. Now we will see what do you mean by RAM. RAM, here data can be stored temporarily. RAM means it is a temporary memory. It will not store the data which was accessed or which was processed, which was calculated, whatever type of data which is present inside the RAM, that is random access memory, is not a permanent memory. It is a temporary memory. It will be stored unless and until the power is on. That means CPU ಗೆ ನೀವು ಎಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ನೀವು ಪವರ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಈ ಮೆಮರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ನೀವು ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ the data stored inside the random access memory will be cleared permanently, right? So this is called here the data can be stored permanently. So this type of memory is called temporary memory or volatile memory, because whenever power fails, the data from the RAM will be erased, as I was said earlier. Next, the information stored in the RAM is basically loaded from the computer disk and includes information related to the operating system and applications that are currently executed by the processor. This means the information stored in the RAM is basically loaded from the computer disk. Andre computer alli RAM anno disk iruttala, so adrinda that means computer alli two types of disks irutte, ಒಂದು RAM ಇನ್ನೊಂದು secondary hard disk, right? So hard disk ಇಂದ ನಾವು ಏನೇ ಡಾಟಾ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರು that will be loaded to the random access memory first. ಅಂದರೆ ನೀವು ಏನೇ ಡೇಟಾ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನೇ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರು ಸ್ಟೋರ್ಡ್ ಡೇಟಾ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಫೆಚ್ಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಮೂವ್ಡ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್ RAM ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟೆಡ್ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರಾಸೆಸ್ಡ್ ವಿದಿನ್ ದ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮೆಮರಿ. ನೀವು ಏನೇ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರು ಅಥವಾ ನೀವು ಏನೇ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರು ಏನೇ ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರು ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಥ್ರೂ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮೆಮರಿ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಯು ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಡೂ ವಿತ್ ದ help of secondary memory. So this is the main operation of RAM. That is, the information stored in RAM is basically loaded from computer disk, that is secondary memory, and includes information related to the operating system and applications that are currently running, right? In RAM you can say that it also holds or it also takes the information of operating system, related to operating system. Next is RAM is considered random access because any memory cell can be directly accessed, its address is known. For example, random access memory antandre it will access any memory location or any memory cell which is available within the random access memory disk, so that the operation is very fast. Means operation fast agbekantanದ್ರೆ whichever available memory that will be accessed randomly. It will not go parallelly, it will access the memory randomly, so that operation should be very fast. Again, this RAM is again divided into two types, that is SRAM and DRAM. We will see this now. In RAM, first one, SRAM. SRAM means static random access memory. SRAM means static random access memory. This means static RAM is a type of RAM that holds its data without external refresh for as long as power is supplied to the circuit. As I was saying in the RAM only, in SRAM it is a static RAM. It will hold the data or an instruction or a operation or a process or a calculation that will be hold or that will be stored unless and until power is supplied to the circuit. ಅಂದರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಸಿ ಪಿ ಯುಗೆ ನೀವು ಪವರ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ರ್ಯಾಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋ ಡೇಟಾ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಪವರ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ದ ಡೇಟಾ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಇರೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ ರಿಮೂವ್ಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಮೆಮರಿ. ರೈಟ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ contrasted to dynamic memory, which must be refreshed many times per second in order to hold its data content. Means we will see this refreshing the memory in the dynamic memory. In this one we don't need any refresh time. Next, SRAM is faster than DRAM. We will see that in the next slide, because these are static, not random. Means not dynamic. Static means they will access the particular memory only. They will not access the dynamic. Compared to the DRAM, SRAM is more power efficient when idle. This means whenever the system is idle, this RAM will not consume more power. ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ನ ಏನು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದರೆ this RAMs will not consume more power as compared to the DRAM. Next is SRAM is several times more expensive than DRAM. These are very expensive as the some of the more specification is needed because of as compared to the DRAM. So these are very expensive as compared to the DRAM. Now we will see the DRAM. DRAM means dynamic random access memory. Dynamic random access memory is the standard computer memory of vast majority of modern desktop computer. Means this one is almost present in all of the computer or in modern computers. Next, it is a volatile memory. As I was saying, the information is stored unless and until the power is supplied. That needs to be refreshed with voltage regulation, otherwise it loses the information stored on it. As I was saying, the refresh rate, that means we will not refresh the memory regularly in case of SRAMs, but in case of DRAMs we need to refresh these RAMs whenever the voltage regulation is there. Means voltage fluctuation is there, then we need to refresh these RAMs for storing or for holding the memory, else the data will be lost or erased. Next, dynamic RAM is also referred to as DRAM. Volatile means that it loses the information stored on it. Means as soon as the power is withdrawn. ಎಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಪವರ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಸಿ ಪಿ ಯುಗೆ this memory holds the information, else it will be erased. Next, dynamic RAM is referred to by its size and space. For example, the packaging or description of the memory include memory module might be least 1066 megahertz 1 GB DRAMs, that is dynamic RAMs. Next, ROM is nothing but random only memory. Random only memory is also a type of non-volatile memory which is used in computer and other electronic device. Non-volatile means it will be stored permanently, right? That means data stored in ROM cannot be electronically modified after the manufacture of main memory. First initial ROMs were something like once the data is electronically modified, that means once they will be stored inside the ROM, then those cannot be modified unless and until it is needed, right? Next, in this, data will be furnished by the manufacturer regarding the system. So this information can be simply be read by user but cannot add new data or it cannot be modified. This means whenever manufacturers embed or place the data to this type of memory, they cannot be modified or we cannot add new data to these type of memory. Next, it is again divided into three types. One is PROM, EPROM and double EP ROM. We will see these one by one now. That is PROM. PROM means Programmable Read Only Memory. This means the content of this memory are decided by the user. Means initially the content, what content needs to be stored. Once the content is stored, that is permanent. That means the user can store the program, data, any other information permanently. This means user first needs to decide what instructions, what data or what program that needs to be stored within this memory, so that it will be stored permanently. Data can be written, that means the data is stored. The special device programmer means it is in this to store the data, the special device is needed to program the data or instruction or information permanently into these memories, right? And we cannot add or rename or add new data or modify the already existing data in case of PROMs. Next, EPROMs. EPROMs means Erasable Programmable Read Only Memory. This is the programmable memory. Here we cannot add any data or we cannot modify any data. But in case of EPROM, we can modify the PROMs. That is, already stored data can be modified. How we can modify? The content stored in this can be erased by or modified by exposing it to an ultraviolet light source for about 10 to 20 minutes. ಅಂದರೆ PROM ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನು ಡೇಟಾ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ಆ ಡೇಟಾನ ಇರೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದ EPROM memories you can erase the already existing data or you can add some more new data. Using how we can do that? By exposing the memories, these memory to an ultraviolet source for about 10 to 20 minutes so that it will be erased. Then it is again programmed, that is new information can be stored. It is the most popular PROM used in modern computer because as the new specification is added, that is you can erase the already existing data. Next one is double EP, that is EEPROM, that is electrically erasable programmable read only memory. This is the modified version of EPROM because erasable programmable read only memory means it is a EPROM, so only it is a modified version of EPROM. The content stored in this can be erased electrically. This means here we have erased using the ultraviolet source, but here we are erasing the data using the electrical points. So it is again programmed and new information can be stored in it and the content retained even when the power is switched off, right? In case of this, even the power is off, the content remained stored within these memories and it can be erased and new data can be added using the electrical signals. So these are some of the memories. So this completes your first part, that is main memory. We will decide, means we will explain the secondary memory in the next session. So in this session we are able to know about the classification of memory, as I shown you the classification with the help of some chart. So and we have learnt mainly about only the primary memory and its type in this session. Hope you understood. Now we will start with the quiz. First question, RAM stands for option A, random access memory, option B, read only memory, option C, write only memory, option D, main memory. Any guesses? Answer is random access memory. You can see here R means random, A means access, M means memory. Next, ROM stands for, you can guess now using the first letter of this ROM. Option A, random access memory. Option B, read only memory. Option C, write only memory. Option D, main memory. Any guesses? Right. Answer is read only memory. Next question. EPROM stands for, just try to match the first letter, you will get the answer. First option, random access memory. Option B, read only memory. Option C, programmable read only memory. Option D, erasable programmable read only memory. Any guesses? Yes, answer is erasable programmable read only memory. Next question. EEPROM stand for, first option, random access memory. Second option, read only memory. Third option, electrically erasable programmable read only memory. Option D, erasable programmable read only memory. Any guesses? Right. Answer is electrically erasable programmable read only memory. Right. So here ends the quiz of today's session. If you have any doubts, if you want to read more about this concept, you can go for Computer Concept and C Programming by PB Kotur or Computer Fundamentals by Halkar Rachappa. You can refer any of these two for more information. Thank you for your patience. Learn digitally. Thank you.